Welcoming you to a life of awareness, the Presence Project is excited for you to join us for today's podcast with your host, Paul Kerzner.
Hello and welcome to episode 69 of Are You Being Present? My name is Paul Kerzner. I want to welcome you to the present moment. I want to welcome you to the here and now, and I want to thank you wholeheartedly, sincerely, and deeply for joining me in this beautiful, lovely, precious present moment. The title and topic for today's podcast is Maintaining Momentum with Presence. And I chose it specifically because I value momentum, the concept of momentum. I talk about momentum with patience. I'm usually analyzing my levels of momentum, if I have it, if I need it, if I want it. And it's certainly a topic that is valuable to share and discuss, to raise it to your attention so that you can see the benefits of maintaining momentum, of building momentum, even thinking about if you have momentum at any given moment. In this reality, in the third dimension, even though sometimes it seems like things are standing still, they're not. Everything is in motion. It's usually our perception that makes us believe the opposite. And there are moments where time definitely slows down. It seems like, minutes take hours and hours take days. And then there's other times where we blink and a day's gone, a week's gone, a month's gone. It's a very interesting concept, the perception of time. And that's definitely a topic that I think I'll dig into in a future podcast. But for today, let's talk about momentum. Momentum is a forward movement. It's a motion. It's a state of being. And at times in our life, things slow down for a variety of reasons and we lose momentum and we feel stuck. And feeling stuck is a tool of the ego. It wants you to believe that you are stuck. And once you feel like you're stuck, you lose presence, you start to ruminate, you get into a state of resentment, frustration, pressure, and it's very uncomfortable until you're forced to change. The beauty of presence is that you can zoom out and take a look at what's going on in your life, how you're behaving, your thoughts, how time is proceeding, and see if there is momentum, if there's opportunities for momentum. For me, I constantly assess my levels of momentum, and I'm able to see when it dips, and I'm able to see when I get into that flow state where it feels easy, where it feels like I'm accomplishing things, where it feels like I'm in the present moment and I'm able to do the things I want to do, and there's not that level of resistance. There's not that level of extra effort that makes it undesirable. It's vital that you maintain a state of momentum and also presence. And presence gives you the clarity to see if you have momentum or not. One of the things that I do when I start to lose momentum is that I like to create checklists for myself. Sometimes these are major things that I want to accomplish, and sometimes they're just small tasks that need to be done. And I use this checklist as a way of gaining momentum, looking at the things that I've done, looking at the things I'm doing, and looking at the things that I want to accomplish. And little by little, my momentum starts to pick up. And I can see that happening in real time because I'm being present. And I'm watching my state of being. I'm watching my energy. I'm watching my focus. I'm watching my thoughts and my emotions. And of course, I'm watching my ego, making sure that he's not chiming in, trying to inhibit my momentum, pulling me out of the moment or making me worry about the future. For me, momentum is a priority. I have a lot of different projects that I like to do. I love my work in the clinic. I love to work out, get exercise. There's a variety of things that you can do to establish and maintain momentum. They don't have to be the things that I just rattled off, but they have to be the things that speak to your soul to make you feel like things are moving in a good direction for you. Now, there are definitely activities that will sap, that will drain your momentum, like watching TV, mindlessly, eating mindlessly. But, we're not going to be critical for those people who are watching TV or doing those things at all, because that's judgment. We just want to understand that mindless activities destroy momentum, and then it makes it difficult for you to be present. Intention is very important when we're trying to build and maintain momentum. Why are you doing the things you're doing? That's a great question to ask yourself, and it's a question I ask myself often. And if you were to ever ask me why I do something, there's always going to be an answer. I like to live my life very intentionally. And that's across the board, because I understand that everything I do has a consequence, good, bad, or indifferent. So I want to assess, does this activity, is it for my greatest good? What is the consequences of this activity, of this decision? Does this decision help or inhibit? Is it positive, or does it have certain drawbacks? I'm not going to use the word negative. I don't want to be hard on myself. I understand that I'm having a human experience, and there's going to be some decisions that are going to be made that might not have the desired results, but I talked about pivoting, and pivoting also helps to maintain momentum. Now, your ego doesn't want you to know or recognize the pivots that exist in front of you and also in your periphery. But using pivot, you can maintain momentum. Because if the things you're doing aren't helping you move forward or making you feel accomplished, there are other options that exist always. There's a million pivots to get to any point that you want to get to. The only thing that gets in your way are the obstacles that your ego creates for you. It wants you to give up. It wants you to get frustrated. It wants you to get angry. It wants you to worry, ruminate, resist. And then you lose your momentum. But the opportunity is to see that you lost your momentum. We live in a reality of cause and effect, and we also live in a reality that there's comparison. So the only way to know what momentum feels like is to not have momentum, or to lose momentum, or to really struggle with gaining momentum. So there's value in having moments where you don't have the levels of momentum that you think you should have or are trying to achieve, because it gives you the opportunity to use different tools, different ways, different methods to gain momentum in the present moment. We're not talking about gaining momentum in the future. And we're certainly not looking back in the past when you might have had momentum, because it's impossible to really know. It's very difficult to know exactly what happened in the past, but you can try to look at it as objectively as possible. But really, the value is in the present moment. What's going on right now in front of your face? Do you have momentum? Are things moving forward? How do you feel? How are you thinking? What's going on? How are the people around you? How are they making you feel? How's the situations that are enveloping you, that are developing around you, for you? Are they supporting your momentum or inhibiting it? Now, there are going to be times of challenge, that is for sure. And in those challenging moments, momentum is quite difficult to maintain. But that's okay, because being present dictates that everything and everyone is temporary. And if you can look at that with the correct lens, you can see the value in the impermanence of every facet of this reality. And it's what makes things beautiful, knowing that nothing lasts. Everything's constantly changing. So your levels of momentum are also going to be dynamic. They're also going to be changing. And if you can see that with an objective lens, you can work with that. But if you look at that through the ego, through an egoic lens, you're going to be hard on yourself and saying, well, why don't I have momentum? Why am I not moving forward? Why did I not accomplish this already? That's not helpful at all. That's a negative motivator. We want to understand that all that's going to do is bring us down. It's going to lower our vibration. It's going to bring us into an ego lens. And then it becomes very difficult to work your way out of it, because you're not being present at all. You're being very judgmental on yourself. And then subsequently, you become judgmental about everything else outside of you, because your outer reality is the direct reflection of your inner reality. So we also want to gauge how much inward momentum we have when we're working on ourselves, how we're working on ourselves, how are our thoughts, how are our feelings, how does our body feel, how are we treating our body, what's the quality of foods that we're eating, are we consuming any substances that are bringing us down, that are slowing us, that are making us feel foggy-headed and sluggish. these are all things to think about. There's no judgment here at all. If you don't have the momentum that you would like to have, that's okay. There's an opportunity there. If you have a lot of momentum and you want to keep going, well, just be easy with yourself. Understand that there's peaks and valleys in any given moment all throughout your reality. And there's going to be times of very strong, steady momentum. And there's going to be times where you're just going to putter along. And there's going to be times where you might perceive that you've lost momentum. But that's okay too. That's fine. Because all that is a reflection point, a moment that you can see that there's work to be done. And as you know, if you've listened to some of my previous podcasts, I like to keep these topics nice and concise, short and to the point. There's no sense in dragging out a topic like momentum, but there's value in presenting it to you in such a way that you can observe it within yourself and then assess what you want to do about it. So I'll leave you with that insight, with those words. And I always want to express my deepest gratitude for sharing these wonderful, precious, finite present moments with you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for listening to the Are You Being Present podcast, brought to you by the Presence Projects. Remember, you have a choice. Choose to be present.